You're just lounging around all day without working? Don't be so spoiled. My mother-in-law's lectures echo through the house almost daily. As I soothed my twin daughters, I was growing weary of my mother-in-law's constant nagging. Then, as if to add insult to injury, my husband said, "Man, I shouldn't have married someone who's given up on being a woman. I want to divorce." Something snapped inside me. I guess that's enough. It really is enough, isn't it? That day, I stopped trying. My name is Violet. I'm a 32-year-old stay-at-home mom. After 6 years of marriage to John and struggling to conceive, we were blessed with twins following fertility treatments. When I found out I was carrying 2 babies, I was so happy I cried. John was shocked by the news of twins but was overjoyed. I believed that once the children were born, fun-filled days would follow. I never doubted that happy days were waiting for us. But reality was not so kind. Wah. Oh, hold on a sec, Lily, I'm just changing Rose's diaper. While I tend to Rose, Lily starts crying. Wah. Next is Rose, huh? I'll give you yours, as soon as I'm done with Lily's milk. When I'm attending to Lily, Rose starts to fuss. Phew. Rose finally fell asleep. Wah. Ah. When Rose sleeps, Lily wakes up, and when Lily sleeps, Rose wakes up. Why can't you both just sleep at the same time? Taking care of twins is overwhelmingly busy. When one calms down, the other starts fussing. Somehow, they take turns needing care, leaving me no time to rest. What day is it today? What day of the week? Is it day or night right now? When did I last sleep? Oh, I've only eaten a single piece of bread today. Days go by where I lose track of time and date. I often fall asleep while feeding them, dropping the bottle in the process. I thought I understood how hard it is to care for even one baby. Still, I think to myself, if it were just one instead of twins, maybe it would have been easier. Before the children were born, my husband used to be more attentive. He researched and bought various parenting gadgets. He seemed like he would become a hands-on dad. But that anticipation turned out to be an illusion. My hopes were dashed. A husband who does nothing was what I was left with. Hey, where's my dinner? As I'm taking care of our daughters, my husband, who is watching TV and playing with his phone, demands his meal. Sorry, I didn't have time to go shopping. Can you go buy fast food or something? I apologize profusely as I continue to busy myself with the children. My husband frowns in displeasure. Huh? You're telling your husband, who's tired from work, to go buy his own food? To eat something instant? You're the worst wife. Spitting out those words, he stormed out of the house. The door slammed shut with a loud bang. Again. He's probably going out to eat. A few hours later, he'll return slightly tipsy and startle the kids awake by loudly announcing, "The Lord of the Manor is back." Hey, girls. It's Daddy. I'm no longer surprised by this routine. This has been my husband's behavior since the twins were born. Stop it. They had just fallen asleep together. Wah. Just as I feared, they woke up. Sure enough, the loud voice of my husband woke the children. In times like these, I resort to the double cuddle technique. It's still manageable because they're small, but what will I do when they get bigger? Despite waking them, my husband complains, "So noisy. Why are babies always so loud?" as he heads to the bathroom. It's your fault. I glared at my husband while holding both kids, but he was completely oblivious to my anger. It's been 2 months since the twins were born. Not once has my husband helped with childcare. He rarely even holds them, let alone change diapers or bathe them. He's never even fed them milk. Every day when he comes home from work, he just plops down on the sofa. He lounges and lazes around as he pleases. I don't even have the time to complain, my days are a whirlwind of activity. Yet, my husband's demands are relentless. Where's dinner? What is married couple? The saying, "children are a bond between parents," feels like a cruel joke. It makes me want to cry. But I don't have any time for tears. Because before I can shed a tear, the twins start crying. I thought life would be fun once the kids are born. But the unexpected wasn't just limited to my husband. Violet, are you there? The intercom rings, and upon answering, my name is called out loudly. As if it's not obvious I'm here if I'm answering the intercom, right? You made me wait quite a bit. Were you trying to ignore me? I was just changing a diaper and couldn't leave. I wasn't ignoring you. We'll see about that. My in-laws' house is just a 10-minute bike ride from our apartment. Since the children were born, my mother-in-law has been coming over almost every day. And she never forgets to bring her complaints. Look at this mess. It's like a garbage dump. I'm sorry, I haven't had a moment to tidy up. Unsorted laundry had taken over the sofa. Garbage bags missed on collection day are piled up by the entrance. The kitchen with a pile of unwashed dishes. And the floor is strewn with baby gear. I managed to keep the area around the children clean, but the rest of the space might as well be a dump. Really, what's with wives these days? Neither working nor managing the household, what are they doing? Muttering under her breath, my mother-in-law inspects the house as if conducting a review. Come on, don't keep the babies cooped up at home. Go out to the park or something. And like that, we were practically chased out, the children and I. Pushing the stroller, I can't help but sigh with every step. Being criticized for not keeping up with household chores, but there's nothing I can do. After all, I'm raising twins all by myself. No, that's not right. It's not just the children. I'm also taking care of my husband. A big reason why the household chores aren't getting done is because of my husband. And then, my mother-in-law says something unbelievable. Violet, maybe it's time you started working? You've got to be kidding, right? How does she expect me to work? Normally, infants can be placed in daycare from 2 months old, but there's no such facility near us. Even if there were, there'd be no openings mid-year. And on top of that, there are twins. Getting a spot for one is hard enough, let alone for both. It's just not possible. So, I can't work. Yet day after day, my mother-in-law repeats the same thing. Don't be lazy, go get a job. Housekeeping is a wife's duty. Keep the house clean since you have babies. Your husband's job is physically demanding, so make sure you prepare nutritious meals. I'm sick of hearing it. My husband is bad enough, but my mother-in-law is the same. She occasionally helps with cleaning, but generally does nothing. She comes over every day, only to inspect the house and list her complaints. Then, after briefly playing with the kids, she leaves. What's the deal with that? To be honest, I want to scream at her not to come. But, exhausted from taking care of twins, I no longer have the energy to argue with my husband or mother-in-law. Oh, my parents in heaven. Please watch over, no, not me, but my daughters. Wishes to my deceased parents end up being for my daughters rather than for myself. I'm back now. Despite everything, the occasional walk does provide a change of scenery. Even though it was brief, going outside after so long felt good. The kids seemed happy too, in their own way. You're back late, aren't you? I'm sorry. Weren't you the one who told me to go for a walk? But being the timid person I am, I couldn't say that, it wasn't even for that long. After the mother-in-law left, I was suddenly overwhelmed with fatigue. As these hectic days continued, and the children were about to turn 3 months old, an incident occurred. Or rather, something was revealed. I was doing some cleaning, or rather, organizing clothes for a seasonal change. While checking my husband's suit pockets before sending them to the cleaners, I found it. A receipt. From what's commonly known as a shady motel. A receipt from a motel in my husband's pocket? My mind went completely blank. In the end, I just stared at it dumbfounded until the children woke up and started crying. What is this? I confronted my husband with it as soon as he got home. He was momentarily surprised by what I showed him. But he just casually said, "Ah, that," without offering any apology. Who did you go with? Yeah. So, you're cheating? Yeah, something like that. It's not something like that. Furious at his repetitive responses, I yelled, and he slammed his hand on the table. I flinched. Shut up. A woman who's given up on herself has no right to nag. What's that supposed to mean? Have you looked in the mirror lately? You've aged so much I sometimes wonder if I'm living with an old woman. How can you say that? I've been too busy with childcare. There it is, the useless woman who blames everything on her kids. There are plenty of women out there who manage childcare, housework, and work perfectly well and still look great. What about you? You can't even clean or cook properly. You're just using the kids as an excuse to slack off. To deflect from his cheating, my husband turned the argument towards my shortcomings. Those women can do it because they have support from their families. You don't help at all. You're the one who wanted kids. I never wanted them in the first place. That's cruel. You said you wanted them too. You were happy when we found out I was pregnant. I forgot about that. His harsh words made my vision blur. Why do I have to be treated this way? Maybe I'm not the perfect wife or mother. Maybe I have let myself go. But I've tried my best. The 1-month and 3-month checkups for the twins, vaccinations, they were all incredibly hard to do alone. Changing diapers for one while trying to calm the other's cries was a rush. I fought off sleep to feed them both. I cleaned as best I could, considering the children's health. As for my husband's meals, sure, I might have cut corners, but I barely eat properly myself. He can dine out alone, but he can't even buy a simple meal for me. I did my best. I really tried, and this is how it ends, with him cheating? Tears blurred my view of his face. Ah, women have it easy. Cry and everything's forgiven, right? That's too much, it's just too much. I could hear the children crying behind me. But I couldn't move. I had no more energy left to move. All I could do was stand there and cry. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I apologized to my children in my heart, and then my husband added insult to injury. Man, I should never have married a woman who's let herself go like this. I want to divorce, get out. I have nowhere to go. If you've got nowhere to go, why not become homeless? At that moment, it felt as if something inside me just snapped. Crying, I went to my children. They had grown so much. I managed to pick them both up, and they immediately smiled. My beautiful, lovely children. My precious children, their smiles give me strength. Hey, hurry up and get ready to leave. I'm going to live here with a new woman. Take the kids with you, they're a nuisance. I looked at my daughter's smiles again. They seemed to be telling me not to give in to such a scumbag. Just as I was about to retort. The one leaving is you, John. A familiar voice echoed through the room. Surprised, I looked towards the voice, and there was. Mom. How come? My mother-in-law, who was supposed to have gone home in the evening, was standing there. I came back for something I forgot. I rang the intercom but got no response and got worried. And the door was unlocked. It seems my husband forgot to lock the door when he came home. I'm not sure if it's okay to just walk in. But that's the least of my concerns right now. We're in the middle of something here. Can you come back later? My husband tried to remain calm and shoo my mother-in-law away. No, I'm not leaving. I've heard enough to get the gist of it. John, you're having an affair. Confronted by my mother-in-law, my husband choked up. Sure enough, a son is weak against his own mother. Ah, well, that's. My mother-in-law didn't hesitate to deliver a physical rebuke to my stammering husband. Ouch. Wow, that must hurt. What's this got to do with you, Mom? I can't stay silent. John. What do you think you're doing to your wife and kids? I want someone young and beautiful. Then why did you even get married? Everyone ages. You knew that. Look at me, I used to be beautiful too. This is what happens when you get older. Hey, a little defense for me would be nice. First of all, did you even help with the housework or childcare? Ah, well, somewhat. Liar. You did nothing. What's this somewhat? Explain yourself. My mother-in-law must have thought the same. My husband had nothing to say. And there it is, another punch. Ow, ow, ow. Quite satisfying, really. But it was surprising. My mother-in-law, who always nagged me, was now lecturing my husband. She's on my side, right? I wondered why. It was baffling. As I stood there dumbfounded, my mother-in-law's gaze turned to me. Yikes. Violet, why do you let John say whatever he wants? You have your own opinions, don't you? You started scolding him before I could get a word in. I missed my chance. Well, sorry about that. Say what you need to say. Yes, ma'am. Though I straightened up and responded, I asked what was on my mind first. Weren't you dissatisfied with me? Saying that I couldn't handle household chores, parenting, or work? Of course, I do. In times like these, you never know what might happen, so it's better to be capable of anything, isn't it? Huh? I've been telling you that even if you divorce such a son, you'd be in trouble, right? That's why I kept telling you it's better if you work. As I listened to my mother-in-law, I began to understand her intentions. So? You were always nagging me out of concern. What other reason would I have? It's not clear at all. I wish she had put it more gently. I was bewildered by this unexpected side of my mother-in-law. But, what is this feeling? I'm actually very happy. So, we're going to sell this apartment. John, you need to leave as soon as possible. My mother-in-law stated firmly. Turns out, this apartment actually belonged to my in-laws. They bought it for their retirement, but it would just deteriorate if no one lived in it until then. They let us live here for free until we could build our own home. What? But what about your retirement? My husband still tried to argue. I've discussed it with your father, and we've decided not to move from our current home, given how settled we are in the community. So? Once you leave, we plan to sell this apartment and use the money for our retirement. So hurry up and leave. But, wait, this is so sudden. The guy who tried to kick out his wife and kids on a whim is saying what now? Leave today. What? My mother-in-law no longer paid any attention to her son, my husband. Violet. Yes. You don't have anywhere to go, right? Come to our place. Yes. Wait, what? Our house is big, plenty of rooms to spare. We don't need rent. I'll take care of the housework and I'll help with the grandchildren. So you can do what you want without worry. Ah. You want to spend time with your children, right? You want to work, right? Enjoy delicious food, relax, and watch your adorable children grow up. That's the life you want, right? Yes. Tears started flowing. They just wouldn't stop. My tears fell on the cheeks of my children cradled in my arms. My daughter reached out her hand, noticing the droplets. When was the last time I really looked at my daughter's face? She's supposed to be cute, but I had lost the ability to see that. The days had been overwhelming. I'm sorry for only being able to speak harshly. I'm an old-fashioned woman. Even though I understand, it's hard to change. I nodded silently to my mother-in-law's words. My husband and I were truly happy to have you as our daughter. We were over the moon with the twins' birth. That's why I ended up being so harsh. I'm sorry. No. Thank you for worrying about me. I'm really happy to hear your kind words. My mother-in-law gently placed her hand on my tear-streaked face. It was incredibly warm. You've done well. I really think you've tried your best. So it's okay, now. You don't have to try so hard anymore. Yes, yes. My mother-in-law's words push me forward. I guess it's okay, now. It really is okay, isn't it? Today, I decided to stop trying so hard. So, I accept the divorce. From this point on, we're strangers. Goodbye. Oh, and make sure you pay child support. Since you admitted to cheating. I'll be expecting alimony as well. What? Ah, no, actually about the divorce. A man shouldn't back out of what he said so easily. Yes, ma'am. When I stood firm in the divorce discussion, taking a cue from my mother-in-law, my husband straightened up. I don't need a husband who doesn't help with housework or childcare, lacks compassion, and shows no love for his family. My mother-in-law nodded vigorously to my declaration of cutting ties. John, we're selling this apartment. Violet and the kids will stay with us. You can go wherever you want. What? Can't I go back to your house too? My husband looked pathetic, clinging to hope. My mother-in-law and I exchanged glances and then turned to my husband, saying no way, together. After that, my ex-husband John, turns out his affair partner was married too, and her husband found out, leading to a huge mess. With the alimony to me and child support, plus the alimony he owes her, he's struggling financially. His salary isn't that high to begin with. His life must be pretty tough now. He's living alone in a rundown apartment, surviving on cheap instant noodles every day. Apparently, my former in-laws are turning him away whenever he comes crying to them. The kids and I are living peacefully at my in-laws' house. I honestly felt conflicted about relying on them. But my mother-in-law said, "You're the mother of our beloved grandchildren. Even if you're legally a stranger now, you're an important person to us. Forget about the family registry. You're our precious daughter. Don't hold back." My quiet father-in-law listens with a smile. I'm filled with gratitude towards them. Come on, instead of crying, why don't you take the kids out for a walk? I'll prepare dinner and get the bath ready. Thank you so much. My mother-in-law smiled warmly. I realized that the usual park had unknowingly transitioned into the blooming season. I've been spending my days looking down, being careless. Now, I've finally managed to lift my head. Children's faces light up with broad smiles among the fully bloomed flowers. Parenting will surely continue to be filled with challenges. But with these smiles, I'm confident we can overcome them. I'm sure we'll be able to keep pushing forward. Beneath the fully bloomed flowers, I spread my arms wide. Hey, wait. You don't need to rush me, I'm not going anywhere. Because, if we don't hurry, Charlotte will get suspicious. In the dead of night on our wedding day, as I woke up in bed, I saw John getting ready to go out. Following him, I was shocked to encounter him and his lover in the midst of an affair. I could never forgive him for cheating on me with that person behind my back. Swearing revenge, I enlisted the help of a collaborator to execute a daring plan on our wedding day. Just watch. I'll show those who underestimated me a real hell. With that thought, I decided to play a remix song at the wedding. My name is Charlotte. I'm a 35-year-old songwriter and composer. Charlotte, I've been thinking about competing with this new song. What do you think? Should I focus more on this part of the tune? It's not bad, but if you want to bring out the best in Marilyn, this other way would definitely make better use of her voice. If that's the sound you want, I can change the melody and work on it a bit. Really? You're amazing, Charlotte. You're such a reliable partner. Then, let's go with this sound for that part. She is Marilyn. My best friend and a valuable work colleague. Marilyn is a singer who has been in the industry for 10 years since her major debut. I have been working on her songs, almost exclusively. We're not affiliated with any agency, we built everything from scratch together and have come this far hand in hand. She's more than a lover to me, an irreplaceable presence. We know everything about each other's private lives, from love advice to personal troubles, I've shared it all with her. By the way, it's coming up soon, right? Your wedding, Charlotte. You're going to be stunning. I can't wait to see you in your glory. Well, yeah. Hopefully, everything goes smoothly. Marilyn looked puzzled by my terse reply. Despite the joy of having a wedding, my heart was not at peace. The reason was my husband, John. John and I were high school classmates. The only difference is that I went to a different high school from Marilyn, and I met John during that time. I was part of the light music activity, playing the keyboard at the event. John was moved seeing me perform. I used to take piano lessons when I was a kid, but I never found it fun. But seeing you play, I was drawn in. I've never seen anyone enjoy music like that. That's why I became interested in you. despite the fact that most people tend to focus on guitar, bass, or vocals and hardly notice me. John kept his eyes on me the whole time I was playing. I remember feeling quite surprised when he first approached me. However, after hearing why he did, I began to take an interest in him too. John was not good at asserting himself but was considerate of others. He seemed to be the type to immerse himself in reading and studying, listening more than talking. Such a good listener, John. I was happy that he shared his thoughts so vividly with me, and I gradually started to fall for him. Before I knew it, we started dating. After graduation, we decided to live together, promising to get married once we saved enough money. However, even after many years, John never brought up the topic of our marriage. When I broached the subject, he would chuckle and say unbelievable things. Do we really need to do? Being together like this is fine, isn't it? I'm busy with work right now, so I don't want to bother with all the paperwork. It's a hassle with all the procedures, so how about we stay as we are, in a de facto marriage? I couldn't believe my ears. What do you mean? You were the one who said you wanted to get married once we had enough savings. And now you're telling me to stay as your common-law wife? That's fraud. No, it's not fraud. When I looked into marriage, I realized how complicated it gets, like changing names and others. But we are engaged. And everyone around us recognizes us as a couple planning to marry. There's no need to rush, right? We do have some money. But I think it's better to save a bit more before we go through with it. In other words, he's not keen on getting married. He's coming up with plausible excuses to keep things vague indefinitely. If he can get away with it, he'd prefer to keep things as they are. He hasn't thought about me at all, just evading the issue with lazy excuses. The moment I understood his intentions, my distrust in him surged. Yet, aside from not being legally married, I had no other complaints about him. However, being in a common-law marriage has its own set of disadvantages. When I pressed John about this, he seemed to only think about the conveniences and admitted he wasn't fully aware of the implications. That makes sense why you'd feel insecure, Charlotte. But I need you to wait for now. The company is short-staffed. And it's difficult to take time off for those procedures, he said, and so the discussion about formalizing our marriage remained unresolved. I didn't have major issues with his personality, but his tendency to procrastinate was undeniable. It's not that he lacks the intention to formalize our marriage, but a lingering sense of unease remains within me. That's when I found myself attending John's company barbecue. It was a family-friendly event, and many people were there. Of course, I was invited and took the day off to join. Being a department head, John was busy greeting various people. I enjoyed chatting with the other wives, finding solace in the brief holiday. Wow. You're the one who writes and composes for the famous Marilyn. No way. I'm a huge fan of hers. I've been following her since her debut, and I've been encouraged by your songs so many times. Many attendees were fans of Marilyn, around the same age group, and I was thrilled to receive compliments on my work and Marilyn's. Suddenly, a woman I didn't know joined our circle and addressed me. Nice to meet you. Are you John's wife? Her name was Amelia Thomas. She's the president's daughter of John's company, and I knew her by name. However, that was only because John had mentioned her. We had never met before. I wondered why she recognized me. Nice to meet you, Ms. Thomas. My husband is always grateful for your support. But it would be rude to question such a thing upon first meeting. I quickly composed myself and greeted her, to which she responded with a meaningful smile. Oh, please, call me Amelia. John is always so helpful, and I thought it'd be nice to greet his wife too. Sorry for barging in like this. Why, I wondered. Without knowing much about Amelia from the first meeting, I felt an air of scheming about her. Beneath her friendly smile seemed to swirl something murky, giving me an eerie feeling. You're John's common-law wife, right? Not planning on formalizing your marriage? Amelia's blunt inquiry startled everyone around, their eyes widening. Although everyone must have had their suspicions, they chose to remain silent out of respect. But she boldly treaded on personal matters without hesitation. Her approach irked me, erasing the smile from my face. Right now, we're both busy with work, so we're just waiting for the right moment to formalize our marriage. But being in a common law marriage is no different from being officially married. So, it's all okay. But there are many disadvantages to being a common law wife, right? Like issues with inheritance or not being eligible for certain deductions. Is John opposed to dealing with that? It'd be more reassuring for you if you were legally married sooner. Amelia bluntly voiced the anxieties and grievances I had about John. The more I listened to her, the more uncomfortable I felt. Why should I endure such insensitive remarks from a stranger? It was baffling that someone I just met would dare to touch on such a delicate subject. Filled with anger, dissatisfaction, and anxiety, I looked down. Noticing my discomfort, others kindly offered to go get drinks with me, sparing me further interaction with Amelia. Amelia expressed her dissatisfaction with, I still wanted to talk, but the others, being considerate, intervened. Thanks to that, I had no further contact with her. I wondered why Amelia approached me at that time. The reason would become clear later on. After that, things were peaceful. Work was going smoothly without any hitches. I thought nothing else would go wrong. That was until a certain incident occurred. Has this person been obsessing over you all this time? Marilyn and I had started a blog for promotional activities. Although I usually don't appear in the limelight, due to numerous requests from fans, I also featured in our blog alongside Marilyn. While the majority supported this, some disliked my appearance. One such person was someone with the account name John. Because it sounds the same as John, it just catches our eyes, doesn't it? Don't just laugh it off. We've reported this to the management, but they keep creating new accounts to slander us. It's becoming too persistent. Maybe we should consider taking legal action, like a disclosure request. Other fans are starting to worry too. Yeah, I'll think about it. I gave a reluctant reply to Marilyn's words. The reason I couldn't immediately agree with her was due to the emails that had been arriving at my personal account daily. You're an eyesore. How long do you plan to act like a celebrity? You're nothing but an ugly nobody who can't do anything alone. Just quit the industry already. It'd be better for your partner too. You're thinking of making a disclosure request? If you take any action, we'll expose your weaknesses to the world. Just be ready for that if you want to proceed. The account Marilyn mentioned had been contacting me long before I started appearing on the blog. I knew if I told Marilyn, she would act immediately. But I couldn't stop thinking about this person named John. The idea that someone whose name is similar to my husband's name was slandering me seemed too coincidental. I just couldn't shake off this feeling. This harassment had been going on for over 6 months. Suddenly, John brought up the topic of formalizing our marriage. Hey, Charlotte. Don't you think it's about time we made it official? I was taken aback by the unexpected suggestion. As I let out a scream-like gasp of surprise, John chuckled amusingly. Are you really that surprised? I've been saying it for a while now. Once we've saved up enough and our jobs have settled down, we'd get married officially. Yeah, I know, but why so suddenly? Sudden? It's been almost a year since we talked about it last. It's not sudden at all, if anything, it's overdue. Indeed, that was true, but until now, he had been the one dragging his feet. And now, out of the blue, he wants to get married officially. What's gotten into him? It's only natural to be suspicious. I'm thinking we could have the wedding in November since December is busy for everyone. What do you think, Charlotte? Can you arrange it with your work? I can do that, but then it's settled. Let's go check out some venues next time. And we need to formally greet your parents again, don't we? My mind couldn't keep up with the conversation that had quickly taken shape. Doubts about him still lingered in my mind. Despite my anxieties, the prospect of finally getting married was indeed a joyful one for me. I had been waiting for this for years. Yet, I didn't like the lingering unease, so I decided to hatch a plan. Preparations for the wedding proceeded smoothly afterward. The day before, we gathered with our families, including Marilyn. Is it really okay for me to be here? It's just a family gathering, and I'm intruding. What are you talking about? You are like a daughter to us. That's right. Charlotte's success in doing what she loves is all thanks to you, Marilyn. It's a joyous occasion, so let's celebrate together. I've wanted to catch up for a while. My parents were both quite spirited individuals. Especially my father, who had the boldness you might expect from a pirate captain, and he was also strong in his drink. His manly vigor, both a voracious eater and drinker, was what made my mother fall for him and eventually win him over. My mother, for her part, was a woman of strong mettle. There was a time when a burglar almost broke into our house, but he was quickly apprehended by my mother. She even dealt with him using a toy sword, which I used to use when I was small, thoroughly beating him down, I heard. Hearing such stories about my parents always made my face twitch. They were indeed a formidable couple. They both doted on Marilyn immensely, treating her as if she were their own daughter. Today, with John's relatives also in attendance, they insisted on introducing her around, so she was being taken from group to group. Your parents are as lively as ever, Charlotte. John seems to struggle with authoritative figures, and it looks like my parents are no exception. Observing Marilyn being overwhelmed, John couldn't help but force a strained smile as he hid behind me, seemingly intimidated. Contrarily, my in-laws seem to have a favorable impression of my parents, happily indulging in drinks whenever Marilyn and they exchange greetings. Despite my in-laws being amiable and easygoing, I wonder why their son lacks so much backbone. Finding it peculiar, I resigned myself to looking after John. As the evening progressed and everyone started to disperse, my parents, John's parents, and Marilyn were set to stay at our place, and I showed them to the guest room. After getting ready for bed, I was asleep in my bedroom when I heard noises in the house. The sounds seemed to be coming from near the entrance. Awoken by the noise, I curiously and cautiously made my way towards the entrance. There, I encountered John attempting to leave the house. "What are you doing out this late?" "Oh. Just heading to the convenience store. I'm a bit peckish. Why not eat some of the gifts we have in the fridge?" I really want this new ice cream." "I'll be right back, Charlotte, you go ahead and sleep." Ignoring my words, John quickly left the house as if fleeing. Feeling something suspicious about his behavior, I messaged Marilyn, who was in the guest room. "Something's off about John. I want to check it out, come with me." Marilyn appeared from the guest room shortly after receiving my message. After explaining the situation, she agreed, and we quickly put on our coats to follow him. Who would walk 3 miles to a convenience store in the middle of the night? Yet, there he goes, walking to the convenience store. If the research is correct, then surely he's about to. The moment I said that, John, who was walking ahead, started to act suspiciously. He looked around, as if checking to see if someone was following him. Marilyn and I quickly hid and held our breaths. Convinced he was unobserved, he disappeared into a public restroom in the park. Rushing to follow, we soon began to hear voices of John and a woman conversing inside. "Let's go around to the back of the restroom and listen in." Following Marilyn's lead to the back, we witnessed a shocking turn of events. "Hey, wait. You don't have to rush, I won't run away. But I have to hurry, or Charlotte will get suspicious." "Haha. That wife of yours won't notice. She didn't even realize when I approached her at the barbecue, right?" To our astonishment, John was having a secret meeting with Amelia. Peeking through a small window of the communal restroom, we saw John and her entangled together. Amelia's sweet moans and John's primal desire for her were chilling to witness. Facing this gruesome scene, both Marilyn and I turned pale. Unbelievable. Having learned the truth, Marilyn trembled with rage, and I, with determination, took out my phone. The restroom window was always slightly ajar for ventilation. This made it easy to film the inside without the two noticing. Oblivious to being recorded, they continued their passionate encounter, like beasts in heat. Feeling nauseous yet determined, I filmed until their deed was done, and then Marilyn and I hurried home. We were up all night, preparing for a certain plan. And on the morning of the wedding day, despite the heavy drinking, my parents showed no signs of a hangover as we headed to the venue. There, of course, were John's boss, President Thomas, and Amelia. They were invited because I had made a point of talking to them at the barbecue. Perhaps too dumb to notice from yesterday included today's invitation. For now, they can think of me as foolish. Because I'm about to show them a real hell. As I pondered this, the time to make our entrance finally arrived. John was smiling happily beside me, but I managed the situation with a forced smile. However, the moment the entrance music started, John's smile vanished, and his face went pale. What the hell is this? Incredibly, the music that was supposed to play during our entrance had been replaced with the inappropriate conversation between John and Amelia from the previous day, and their disgraceful voices were now exposed to everyone in the venue. Confused and panicking, John didn't understand what was happening. While I watched, Amelia also became frantic, and Mr. Thomas glared at them both with a stern look. Hey, someone stop this. What the hell is going on? Oh, there's no need to stop it. This is simply showcasing evidence of your secret meeting with her last night, I said as I took the microphone from the host and began to disclose everything to the guests who had gathered. I deeply apologize for reporting this under these circumstances to all of you who have gathered here today. I, Charlotte, will not formalize my marriage with John. The venue was abuzz with the sudden announcement. Meanwhile, the inappropriate voices of the two continued as background music, leaving all the guests in confusion. Explain what this means. You guys stop this audio. Do you think this is acceptable? Amelia, panicked and glared at by Mr. Thomas, showed her true nature as she charged at me with bloodshot eyes. Marilyn stood in front of me to protect me, smirking provocatively at Amelia. Why are you in such a hurry? Is it because you're the voice in this audio? What? Amelia was shocked, as if she couldn't believe Marilyn knew about it. Marilyn and Amelia had no connection, and there was no way Marilyn could know her. Yet, why? Amelia seemed to ask with her expression, to which Marilyn smirked wickedly. Then, she appealed to everyone to pay attention to the screen behind me. Ladies and gentlemen, you must be very curious about who the individuals in this exchange are. Today, we have a fantastic act to show you. Please watch attentively. At Marilyn's signal, the venue staff started playing a video on the screen. It was footage capturing the entire incident from the previous day, leaving all the guests speechless. John's parents covered their mouths in shock, their faces pale. Mr. Thomas watched in silence, and my parents observed the video just like him. Stop it, please, stop it. What is this? Explain what's going on. It's you who should be explaining. Despite the affair being exposed, Amelia continued to show a defiant attitude, to which I shouted angrily. At my voice, Amelia flinched as if startled. Ignoring the bewildered John and Amelia, I explained everything from the beginning to everyone present. Let me explain what's happening. Amelia here is the daughter of a company executive where John works, and they've been having an affair. This video was filmed last night, showing they were meeting secretly. John and Amelia were shocked to realize their actions had been discovered. The guests were appalled by the horrifying details I shared, all of them looking at the two as if they couldn't believe it. Their relationship has been going on for almost 2 years. I've been waiting for John to formalize our marriage, and suddenly, 6 months ago, he brought up the topic. In fact, Charlotte was receiving terrible harassment on her blog at that time. The account name was John. We thought her husband might be behind it. But it turned out differently. I hired a detective and contacted a lawyer to investigate everything from the account to John. And I learned a shocking truth. It was revealed that it wasn't my husband but someone else. This person sent me harassing messages in a very masculine tone, trying to tear apart my marriage. Upon investigation, it was discovered that the person using the name John to harass me wasn't my husband but Amelia. Standing right there. What? Amelia's face showed panic as everything was revealed. John, too, seemed unaware of the confession and was lost for words. By the way, we have proof. Additionally, we discovered a diary-like record on this account's social media, detailing the interactions between Amelia and John. The screen displayed documents gathered by the detective. From the diary mentioning me to slanderous comments and information obtained through disclosure requests. All the evidence was laid bare. There was no escaping it. Amelia, completely cornered, turned pale, her earlier boldness completely gone. I've been receiving harassing emails like this daily from this account. It all started around the time I attended John's workplace barbecue. There, she approached me, asking intrusively why we weren't married yet, embarrassing me in front of everyone. I recounted, glaring at them with indignation, the anger from that time surging within me. And when I found this blog, I realized her approaching me in public was deliberate. The blog detailed the day she approached me, revealing her feelings at the time. It was written that she envied me being with John and had deliberately made contact to harass me. She had intentionally acted to drive a wedge between John and me, aiming for a divorce. Upon learning the truth, the guests looked at the two with disdain, while my mother-in-law sobbed miserably out of shame. My father-in-law, enraged, hung his head and clenched his fists, trembling with anger. This is why I'm canceling our official marriage here. This isn't some kind of illegal filming. What you're doing is a crime. This is outrageous. Why didn't you talk to us before taking such drastic measures? There was no need to bring this up in front of everyone. Their nonsensical rebuttals left the guests, and Marilyn, utterly flabbergasted. In the midst of this, my anger erupted, and I lashed out at them with harsh words. Why are you acting like you're the victims here? Do you even comprehend the gravity of your actions? Well, how could you even think of marrying me after such vile acts? Just looking at your face now disgusts me. Can you understand how repulsive it feels to be wearing this dress because of you? Who would have thought that the reason I'd be wearing my dream wedding dress was for such a debacle? John could never understand the depth of this pain. Every time I see this dress, I'll be reminded of today's events, living with the betrayal you've caused. Can you even fathom the extent of this pain? It was the first time I had ever yelled at John. Realizing the gravity of the situation, he was at a loss for words, speechless. With them reeling, I turned my gaze to Mr. Thomas, delivering one final blow. Don't think this is over. Do you understand why I attempted to have a ceremony with someone I had no intention of formalizing marriage with? Faced with my pointed question, both John and Amelia were silent, unable to come up with an answer. To them, I delivered the final blow. It was to corner the two of you socially. At that moment, Mr. Thomas, who had been silent, stood up and approached the stage. Excuse my sudden intrusion. I am Amelia's father and the president of the company where John works. In fact, I had been informed about this situation in advance by Charlotte. Dad. Amelia's voice was filled with shock as she heard the truth for the first time. Mr. Thomas, nearly roaring, reprimanded her. To think how you'd respond in this situation. Not only have you disgraced me, but you've also had the audacity to antagonize Charlotte. You bring shame upon us. For such behavior, I've decided to impose my own punishment on you. As Mr. Thomas spoke, the entrance to the venue opened, and a man walked in from outside. Let me introduce him. This is Amelia's husband, our company's vice president, Mr. Brown. What? She was married. And he's vice president. Unbelievable. It turned out Amelia was already married, and further investigation revealed she had 2 children. Mr. Brown glared at Amelia with a cold, emotionless gaze, while Mr. Thomas looked at her as if she were nothing more than an insect. Today, I am using this opportunity to announce that John will be dismissed from our company, and I will impose a strict punishment on my daughter. We have no need for individuals who bring shame to our company. This can't be happening. The two were visibly shaken by the sudden declaration. John panicked, while Amelia, in turmoil, clung to Mr. Thomas. Wait, please. Dad, I'm sorry. I'll cut ties with John, and I won't ever do anything like this again. Please. Amelia, in a disgraceful display, clung to Mr. Thomas's feet, tears streaming down her face. John, along with her, desperately pleaded for forgiveness, but Mr. Thomas had no sympathy for them. Instead, he berated the two of them with a barrage of angry shouts. Apologizing to me won't solve anything. Do you even know who you should be apologizing to? I don't care about scum like you. Figure out what you should do on your own. Impossible. Faced with the harsh words from Mr. Thomas, John felt utterly helpless. Contrary to John's despair, Amelia refused to give up. Fearing the loss of her status, she desperately apologized to Mr. Brown. However, Mr. Brown, just like Mr. Thomas, did not entertain her pleas. Left with no recourse, Amelia glared at me, her frustration evident as she clenched her teeth and apologized. "Please, I beg you, forgive me. I will have nothing to do with John ever again. I apologize for everything that has happened. So please, convince my parents." "What kind of nonsense are you spouting?" "Huh?" Unmoved by her desperate apologies, I responded without changing my expression. Amelia, who thought an apology would suffice, was taken aback by the unexpected reply. She hesitantly looked up, trying to gauge my reaction. "After all you've done, you think you can be forgiven just like that?" "I'm planning to cut ties with John, and frankly, I couldn't care less about what you do or who you involve. Demanding compensation would be pointless if President Thomas and the others were to cover for her. The reason why I embarrassed the two in front of their parents is to ensure to prevent anyone from siding with John or Amelia. I'm going to show you both a living hell. It's only fair to face the consequences of your actions, right? So brace yourselves. This is far from over." With that, I succeeded in my revenge against John and the others. Naturally, the wedding was cancelled, and the expenses were charged to John. As word of this spread online by guests, John and Amelia's identities were quickly revealed, and they faced public ridicule. Amelia, feeling as if the whole world was against her, was driven to a mental breaking point and is now living a life of medical treatment. After being fired from his job, John is now living a day-to-day existence. Kicked out of her home, Amelia turned to John, who was already drowning in debt, and ignored her, leaving her lost and homeless. Rumor has it, she's now living at the bottom of society, trying to fit in with the homeless. Witnessing their hellish life brought great joy to me and Marilyn. Once it was known that Amelia was the one harassing me on my blog, she became a pariah even among my fans. Ostracized by everyone she knew, she lost her place in the world. Since then, Marilyn and I have reclaimed a peaceful life. My career is advancing smoothly, and my blog is extremely popular. Marilyn and I have launched a fashion brand, making us instantly famous. We are even hailed as the ultimate dynamic duo. How about we write a song about ditching a cheating ex for our next single? Something that would appeal to high school girls, to women in their 20s? Exactly. We can't miss this opportunity. If they know you wrote and composed it, even non-fans will take notice. Inspired by Marilyn's ability to turn even this situation into energy, I began to write and compose music following her advice. The song was a hit. Unexpectedly, it was even adapted into foreign languages, gaining global recognition. Let's continue to be strong women who never lose to the likes of them. Her laughter as she said those words was a balm to my soul. My name is Mia. I am 35. Recently, I picked up a kitten near my home, and it's so adorable that I'm completely smitten. Why are the little things so heartwarming? I used to be grossed out by celebrities on TV saying they love sucking on cats' ears, but now, I kind of understand the feeling. Well, without further ado. The story I'm about to tell is about how my ex-husband was smitten by another woman. I really want you to hear it. 6 years ago, in the second year of marriage to Brandon, I was finally getting used to being his wife. It all seemed smooth sailing, but that's when it started. Gradually, Brandon began coming back home late. The reasons varied. It was either working overtime, helping out a coworker with a mistake, or taking clients out to dinner. However, Brandon's job originally didn't require much overtime, and not many new recruits joined. Client dinner was for the higher-ups, it's his boss's job. It didn't make sense for him to work overtime every day in such a workplace. The reason had to be either of the following. 1. A newbie making incredible mistakes every day joined the team. 2. He was up to something he couldn't tell his wife. If not 1, then 2. Of course, while I suspected something, there was no concrete evidence to support my suspicions. More than anything, I didn't want to face the reality. I would feel sad if he's really cheating in spite of our 2 years married life, and I would end up blaming myself. Wondering if there was something wrong with me. Amidst these lingering doubts, there was another issue that troubled me. The presence of my mother-in-law. Until then, she had been a calm and sweet person, but a little before our second wedding anniversary, she began pressuring us about having children. She regularly gets in touch to say things like that some herbs are good for fertility, that I should wear something red. Pushing her beliefs on health and spirituality on us. Of course, she also came over and left behind 10 fertility charms and a stork figurine. Or she even made me undergo a shady acupuncture treatment, claiming it would be good for balancing my hormones. And it's rude to assume my hormone balance was off too. We had only been married for 2 years, and I was still young, so there was no need to rush into having a child, using such superstitious methods. In fact, I'd prefer to spend a bit more time just the two of us. I thought it would be alright to wait a bit longer before having kids. Of course, I couldn't say such things to my mother-in-law. If I did, she would get emotional and start saying, "Am I going to leave this world without ever seeing my grandchildren?" Though she seems like she'll be good for another 30 years at least. So, I had to pretend to be a wife who wanted children in front of my mother-in-law. Well, I want them, eventually. It's pointless to say because it wouldn't get through to her. Of course, I had discussed it with Brandon as well. He said, "Well, if mom wants it, we better hurry up," but his actions didn't match his words. When he comes back home late at night, he immediately takes a bath, eats, and quickly goes to sleep. That's his daily routine. When can we have kids in that routine? Watching his behavior, I can't help but think that he doesn't really want children all that much. However, Brandon tends to be absolutely obedient to his mother, or rather, he tends to let her control him. We bought this house despite our little savings because she said, "If I will live with you two in the future, it has to be a own house. Not a rented one." Until then he had said he would definitely rather live in an apartment than buy a house because of the payments. So, probably, regarding children, it's more about wanting to fulfill his mother's wishes than his own feelings. Even if I were to get pregnant, I couldn't expect any help from Brandon, and it's clear I would have to manage everything by myself. It's not an environment welcoming to children at all. While skillfully dodging her and being troubled by my incommunicative husband. One day I smelled a woman's perfume on my husband's shirt when he came back. Of course, I asked him, "You smell nice, what's up with that?" I knew how to deal with him. I knew that the scent alone wasn't enough to prove anything. As expected, Brandon responded safely, "Maybe the scent transferred when an accounting clerk pointed out a mistake in my expense report today?" Though his face was clearly pale. His behavior became more suspicious, not just frequently checking his phone but also taking it with him to the bathroom and the shower. I wanted to clear things up once and for all. I was scared to find out, but I wanted proof. Just when I was starting to think this, he made the first move. "Excuse me, who is it?" Brandon, unusually early, came home with a woman. To my question, Brandon averted his eyes guiltily and the woman smirked confidently. "Nice to meet you. I'm Leah, his co-worker at the company," she said with a bright smile, intertwining her arm with Brandon's. "She's pregnant." "I want a divorce," he said. "What?" I couldn't believe Brandon's words and questioned my hearing for a moment. "Pregnant. So, you've not only cheated but had a child with someone else while we don't have any? What do you mean? Why a divorce? We've only been married for 2 years. Is it really true about the pregnancy?" "It's true. I've been seeing Leah for about 6 months. She's pregnant with my child. Even mom knows about it. She's thrilled about having a grandchild. She said it's best if we get divorced. I think I should do as mom says," he explained. "Wait, hold on. This doesn't make any sense. Please, let's get divorced." I was so shocked by his earnest apology, realizing how seriously he wanted to leave me. Bringing a woman home, admitting to cheating, and even having a child. I couldn't keep up with my thoughts. I didn't even feel angry, just overwhelmed with confusion, and we ended up getting divorced. In hindsight, I probably should have lashed out more. 2 years passed since then. Having left the home I shared with Brandon and with hardly any savings, I moved back to my parents' house and worked as a temp. The people at my temp job were really kind, and I had fully relaxed into the tranquility of my daily life when one day came along. While out for lunch with colleagues at a restaurant, I unexpectedly bumped into Brandon and Leah. I wanted to ignore them, but Leah, holding a child, approached me saying, "Oh, you're his ex-wife, aren't you?" Because of her, people around us started asking who they were, and I couldn't escape. "My ex-husband and his wife," I replied, and my colleagues, who had heard about the divorce from me, immediately recognized Leah as the homewrecker, their expressions saying, "Wow, what a disaster." "Wait. Leah, is that you?" The moment my colleague Sophia said that, Leah's face stiffened. "Sophia. Long time no see." "What a coincidence," Leah responded. So, Leah is the reason Mia got divorced." "So what?" "No, nothing." Sophia smiled, but Leah looked cautious. Both my colleagues and I watched the two of them, wondering what was going on. "I'm going to the bathroom, you hold him for a sec, okay?" Leah said. Saying that, Leah handed the child over to Brandon, swiftly turned around, and walked towards the restroom. Sophia watched her back intently. Curious, I asked, "Sophia, is there something bothering you about her?" "Well, about her, your ex-husband might not want to hear this, but you might want to ask a DNA test for that child," Sophia said. "What?" I couldn't help but have the same reaction as my husband. What did she mean by that? I was working as a temp at the same place as Leah before. She's notorious for messing with married men, got fired from several places because of it. She just can't help but go after what belongs to others, Sophia said with a cold stare. "I've heard that you met Leah at your company, right? You should really look at her resume if you get the chance. She's moved between a lot of jobs. And it's always men-related problems," Sophia casually remarked. "But that has nothing to do with the child," Brandon objected. "Well, that might be true, but she's known for juggling multiple relationships at once. Thinking she was faithful just to you might be risky." Sophia continued with a nonchalant laugh, her advice seemingly from a bystander's perspective. Meanwhile, my husband was staring at the way Leah went with paled face. Then, about 3 weeks later, Brandon called my parents' house. It seemed that was the only way he could reach me since I had blocked his number on my phone. As soon as I answered, he began with an apology. "I'm sorry. The things your colleague mentioned kept bothering me, so I looked into our child, and it turned out, he's not really my son." His voice trailing off. But hearing this now didn't change anything for me. I could only sarcastically think, "Well, boo-hoo, what a pity for you." To be honest, I had lost all interest in a second-hand husband 2 years after our divorce. Cats are far more intriguing to me than any man could ever be. "When did I start taking you for granted?" "Even then, you loved me," he pondered. "No way. If I had found proof of your cheating earlier, it would have been over, even for me. We were both fools, you and I. The child wasn't actually my boy." "But Mom, she believes she's got a grandchild. Don't you find that sad?" "I can't conceal it to her." "You must feel some pain knowing your former mother-in-law is suffering," he continued. "No, it's more like my stomach hurts, from laughing. You know what, that mother-in-law made her son dump her daughter-in-law, and proceeded to remarry another woman because she had a child with her son, right? You understand how I feel now, don't you?" he asked. "What? Hungry or something?" I responded, not interested in his feelings at all. "No. I'm calling like this just to hear your voice, you know what I mean." "I don't know what you mean, and frankly, I don't want to know it. If I can understand your feelings, I'm going to lose my way as a human being," I retorted. "Man, why are you so cold to me?" "You know what, I still love you, so let's have a baby with me," he proposed.
Ew.
I couldn't help but express my disgust. Feeling a chill that made my skin crawl, I could almost imagine Brandon thinking he had nailed it with his words, which only intensified my discomfort. What? He dumped me like that, and now he thinks I'll fall for him if he hits on me like this? Even though he has zero value in the single guy market? And trying to seduce a woman while saying, "Let's make a baby," might get you reported to the police. Right after the divorce, I was indeed shaken and saddened. But now, with a clearer mind, I often find myself grateful for the separation. How could he entertain such fanciful notions after everything that happened? Maybe it's time to bury him in his fanciful flower garden, serving as compost for some beautiful flowers. If you accept my feelings, I'll leave Leah and start over again with you, he proposed. What? Does that mean he'll just go back to Leah as if nothing happened when I don't accept it? He's not going to take any risks, but in a way, isn't this a good chance? So, I responded to Brandon. Oh, you'll cherish me this time? Then you'll have to officially declare a divorce to Leah, I said. You'll be with me again? Thank you. All right, I'll arrange a meeting with Leah right away. Come to our house. He replied cheerfully, quickly setting a date for our meeting. 2 days later, I met with Brandon, and we headed to the house he shared with Leah. Leah was visibly shocked to see me return with Brandon. Why is she here? She stammered. I understand that feeling all too well. I had the same stunned reaction when I faced his divorce announcement. Nodding in empathy, I listened as Brandon confronted her. Leah, I've looked into your past relationships. And I've found out Jason isn't my son. So, I can no longer live with you, he declared. What? Jason was the son she had with Brandon. Leah was utterly flustered by his sudden declaration. Wait. Why are you bringing this up all of a sudden? Jason is your son, she protested. Weren't you going out on dates with my colleague around that time? He pressed. That was just because I was invited. He was my boss, so I went along with it a bit, but nothing happened, she defended herself. Enough with the excuses. You'll have to make up for deceiving me. I'll be filing for divorce, so be prepared, he stated firmly. Wait, don't decide everything on your own. Leah retorted, her voice filled with panic. I've already made up my mind. I'm settling things with you and starting over with Mia. I'm going to make sure my mom, no my mother, gets to see her adorable grandson this time. He announced resolutely. What's that supposed to mean? Am I not important to you, only your mother is? Leah challenged. Of course, he affirmed without hesitation. I nearly burst into laughter. It seems Leah is still blissfully unaware of Brandon's actual nature. Another acre added to his fanciful flower garden. I have so much I want to say, but I must hold back for now. Are you okay with this, as the ex-wife? Getting back with a man who betrayed you. You're making it too easy for him. Leah accused. I value my own happiness. I replied to Leah's tirade with a calm smile. I imagine it was the same smile that Leah had when she thought she had won over Brandon back then. I can't believe this. Are you serious? Leah faltered, visibly shaken. It doesn't matter what you say. It's decided we're getting back together, so stop complaining, Leah. Brandon interjected. You're the worst. Fine, then let's get divorced. I'll make sure to get a hefty child support from you. Leah retorted. Child support? As if you could get any. He's not my son anyway. Brandon scoffed at Leah with disdain. Perhaps knowing he could marry me made him very assertive. But that's... Leah tried to argue back. Come on. I can't stop laughing. Mia? Both Leah and Brandon were taken aback by my sudden burst of laughter. But really, who wouldn't laugh at such an ridiculous situation? Leah, you really don't know anything yet. I bet you'll feel lucky to be divorced once you find out everything, I said. What do you mean? Leah asked, turning towards me with a puzzled look. Doesn't he sometimes call his mother a mommy? I prodded. He does, but... I was told it's just a habit from his childhood. What's the big deal? Leah inquired, still confused. Ever seen the inside of his phone case? I asked with a chuckle. What? Leah looked puzzled, and my husband's face turned pale. I turned to Brandon, smiling. Show us your phone. No, he protested. Why not? Are you embarrassed? So you did have those feelings. Did you think I never noticed? I teased. I'm not embarrassed. It's a photo of mommy. What's so wrong with that? What? As Brandon blurted out those astonishing words, Leah looked at him with a very cold gaze. What do you mean? A photo of your mother inside your phone case? Exactly. I replied with a smile to Leah's questioning look. Seriously? That's unbelievable. Leah twisted her body in a gesture of disgust. It's not just the phone case. Check under the mattress in the bedroom. If it's still the same, you'll likely find photos of his mother. He used to stare at them under his phone's light at night. It was creepy, I shared. With a gasp, Leah exclaimed, "Yuck." Startled, Leah immediately ran towards the bedroom. Moments later, she returned to the entrance, letting out another sharp scream, "Yuck." It was really there. Told you, I said nonchalantly. Brandon watched us, dumbfounded. But... Mommy. Parents are important, right? You keep their photos too, he shouted in defense. Keeping their photos and carrying them around are different things, I pointed out. Yeah. Leah agreed with me. She is completely on my side now. Leah, you probably don't know yet, but sometimes this guy talks in his sleep, saying things like, "Mommy. Let me sit on your lap." That's why I thought I was better off divorced afterward. At first, I just thought I had an odd husband, but looking back, he was a true mommy's boy. I was the empress of the mommy's boy empire, and now you're the current empress. Salute to His Majesty the Emperor. I joked.
Ew.
Leah's reaction was one of sheer revulsion. My husband's face turned red with anger as Leah's attitude clearly got to him. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Unlike you guys, mommy is perfect. She's like a goddess to me, he exclaimed. Oh, so the authority of the mommy's boy emperor is divinely granted. I commented dryly, causing Leah to burst out laughing. How dare you? I won't tolerate anyone mocking mommy, especially not someone who's suggesting marrying me. Apologize, he demanded. Marry? I won't be marrying you, I clarified. What? Both Brandon and Leah were taken aback by my statement. It seems they had both completely bought into the idea that I was considering getting back together with Brandon. Well, I'm the one who behaved to make them think that, though. I never said anything about getting back together. Didn't you notice? I came here just to expose your mommy's boy tendencies, I explained. And, I thought if Brandon was going to end things with Leah either way, why not make it a grand spectacle? During our divorce, I was too stunned to voice any complaints. Taking advantage of this opportunity for a bit of payback shouldn't be too bad, right? What? You're such a jerk. I trusted you, he exclaimed, clearly feeling betrayed. A jerk? You dare say that? You were the one who first decided to have a child with another woman and divorce me because your dear mommy wanted to see her grandchildren, weren't you? Who's the jerk? You should know better than to treat a woman like an idiot. Do you think you can just woo them with a marriage proposal? You are an emperor who has been left behind by his empress, you idiot. I countered, my words dripping with sarcasm. Who are you calling an idiot? He sputtered in response. Oops, excuse me, Mr. Mommy's boy, I quipped, hardly able to contain my laughter. That's enough. I'm not getting back with you. Staying with Leah would be better than going back to you, he exclaimed. But there's no way we could get back together when I have no intention of doing so in the first place. What is he even talking about? Is he foolish? Just as I was about to voice my thoughts, Leah, seemingly fed up, said, No, that's fine, let's just go ahead with the divorce. What? He seemed disheartened. He likely hadn't expected Leah, who had been trying to avoid divorce just moments ago, to suddenly agree to it so readily. Yep, I'm just tired of all this drama, and to find out you're such a mommy's boy, it's just a major turn-off. Now that I know the real you, I just can't do it anymore. And what do you mean, I'm the better option? Leah expressed her frustration. Wait, just hold on, Leah. He implored, trying desperately to grasp Leah's arm in an attempt to persuade her, but she firmly rejected him. So, with that, it's settled. None of us is going back to him, that resolves it, I said with a smile. Leah chuckled in agreement, while he was left sobbing. Oh, that's right, there was one more thing, I added, catching both Brandon and Leah off guard. The child you and Leah have is probably truly yours. Of course, we'd need a DNA test to be sure. What do you mean? He demanded clarification. A colleague of mine, Sophia, took a personal interest in your situation and gathered some information. Our company is a large staffing firm, so we have employees placed within your company. This helped her to connect some dots. It turns out, I explained. Turns out what? He urged. Just as Leah said. There was a boss who kept asking her out, but Leah was actually troubled by his advances. So, there was nothing going on between them. Leah had even been focusing on marriage prospects recently, settling down from her previous, more flamboyant lifestyle. Sophia was even sorry for some troubles caused by her misunderstanding, I concluded. Leah remained silent, a guilty expression on her face. It seemed I was right. It is ironic that the husband didn't believe his own wife, but she was believed by his ex-wife. So, it's really my child, he asked. I've been saying that. And just so you know, apologizing now won't change anything. I've already decided to get the child support and go through with the divorce. Leah asserted firmly. Wait, just wait a sec, Leah. It was my fault, so. Thus, he kept pleading for a do-over, desperately appealing to Leah, but she was having none of it. This is what happens when you try to have it all, aiming to benefit solely yourself. Serves him right. Then Leah divorced Brandon and, true to her word, seems to have received the child support at the amount she demanded. This was because Brandon had bought a single-family home when marrying me, but sold it for a pittance upon divorce. After remarrying Leah, the money had already gone as he scrambled to fund his new life. Moreover, he had the audacity to try and remarry me after driving the blameless Leah out. Naturally, Leah got alimony and child support. To avoid a lawsuit, he paid the child support at Leah's asking price, handed over the house they had lived in together to her. And Brandon returned to his parents' home, but that wasn't the end. Since Leah disclosed everything about him at work, Brandon, now feeling out of place, was forced into resigning. Unfortunately, the timing of his resignation coincided with a period when job opportunities were scarce, which made his job hunting unsuccessful. Since then, he's been juggling multiple part-time jobs, desperately trying to make ends meet and cover child support and other payments. That day, Leah apologized to me, saying, stealing someone's husband was the stupidest thing I could have done. It was only when I almost experienced the same fate that I knew how terrible it was. I want to change and become a mother my son can be proud of. It's not that I've forgiven everything, but when I think about it, I'm somewhat thankful to Leah for enabling me to quickly get a divorce from such a husband. Honestly, I couldn't care less about Brandon or Leah now. The apology and the divorce have settled the matter for me. Not that I'd ever say this to them, of course. As for me, I've become very close to a supervisor at one of the temp jobs I took after that incident. Oh, you want to know if we are getting married? Well, after one bad marriage, I'm not so keen on marrying again so easily. We often go out for meals together, but he's not even my boyfriend. I enjoy spending time together, but I've started to think that being alone isn't so bad. I'm done with a life that's controlled by someone else. Now, I enjoy a free lifestyle, going out to eat with colleagues I get along with at various companies, attending concerts with people who share my music interests, and more. It might not be gorgeous, but I feel much more vibrant now than when I was worried about my husband cheating or feeling pressured to have children. So for now, having a new adopted kitten as a partner seems fine to me. Being single now feels like the happiest time of my life. Cheers to a happy single life. Call an ambulance, quick. How can you be so slow? Suddenly, my neighbor, Sarah, barged into my room. This all started when Michael collapsed in the bathroom. Lately, Michael has been inseparable from his phone, no matter where he is in the house. Indeed, he even takes it with him to the bathroom, seemingly always in conversation with someone. Why the fact that Michael collapsed in the bathroom was immediately known to Sarah, who lives next door, is beyond me. Frankly, I don't see why I should be called slow by Sarah. I'm already in the know. Why Sarah is connected to Michael, and how she came to know about his collapse in the bathroom so quickly. Sarah and Michael might think their secret is safe, but there have been many suspicious instances in the past. It's quite comical that they're unaware the only ones who haven't noticed are themselves. I've turned a blind eye until now, but I've decided to put an end to it all here. They've taken my silence for granted and done as they pleased, but they will suffer just as I have. Of course, I plan to confront Michael, but naturally, I intend for Sarah to experience the same kind of suffering as I have. They shouldn't think they can get away with it silently. Now is the time to settle the betrayals of the past 13 years properly. My name is Linda, and I'm a 40-year-old housewife this year. I met my husband, Michael, through a mutual acquaintance. Given my age, I long to get married and build a warm family. It all started when an acquaintance suggested, just meet him, it won't hurt. At that time, I was focused solely on my career and hadn't had any meaningful encounters. Watching those around me get married, I wondered what life would be like with someone I truly loved. Thinking it wouldn't hurt to meet since it was free, I agreed, only to find an unexpected comfort in his presence. Not only did we share hobbies and topics of conversation, but the pace and rhythm of our dialogue were incredibly comforting. It felt as if we had known each other before, making me want to meet him again. Although I had dated a few men before, I had never been able to talk so freely and comfortably with anyone. My first impression of Michael was of someone considerate, who always put me first and supported me. It didn't take long for his constant kindness to captivate me. "Ah, Linda, I thought this would suit you." "What's this?" "It's neither my birthday nor our anniversary, but may I open it?" "Please, go ahead." Inside the box Michael handed me was a beautiful lemon yellow dress. "It's lovely. I've never worn a dress like this before, so I'm not sure if it'll suit me." "I'm certain it will look great on you, Linda. I'd love to see you try it on here." "Here." That's a bit thrilling. I immediately tried on the dress. Yes, it fits perfectly. Just as I thought, it suits you. I'm so happy. Thank you. Michael looked at me contentedly, nodding his approval. Although he was kind, I occasionally caught glimpses of his stern side. This happened during work-related calls. Even during our dates, he would sometimes have to take calls, issuing instructions. I found myself admiring him as he managed these calls. Michael, it seems, holds a managerial position at his workplace, responsible even outside working hours. It must be tough to receive work calls even on your days off. Well, it's not too bad. But having inefficient subordinates can be quite a hassle. Oh. We should head to the restaurant, our reservation time is approaching. Laughing, we held hands and hurried to the restaurant. Linda, I've always wanted to marry a wonderful woman like you. Will you marry me? If you're okay with me, I'd be more than happy. I look forward to our future together. Marrying Michael, I felt an immense sense of happiness. However, I was soon to learn that this happiness was only fleeting. I intended to continue working as a nurse even after getting married. But the situation started to look ominous. It's about the household chores. I intend to keep working as before, even though we're married. When I have night shifts, could I possibly ask you to help out? Then, Michael's expression darkened. Night shifts, so you're planning to continue working? Yes, but, is that a problem? It's not that it's a problem, but the idea of a woman continuing to work even after getting married is a bit. Nowadays, it's not uncommon for both spouses to work. In fact, among my acquaintances, households where both spouses work hard are more common than those with a stay-at-home spouse. Even after hearing my explanation, Michael insisted that he wanted me to quit working after marriage, so I asked him why. Surely, Michael must have his reasons. Believing it's important for both spouses to compromise, I felt I had to ask. I've been coming home to a dark room and turning on the lights by myself. Michael, you've lived alone since graduating from college, right? Turning on the lights in that lonely room and realizing in that instant that I'm alone was unbearable. For a moment, I thought I saw a shadow cross Michael's face. I see. I've lived at home for a long time, but I guess living alone can make you feel that way. That's why I want you, Linda, to quit your full-time job. Of course, I'll earn enough to support us. I might even be promoted to director soon. Really? A promotion at this time is impressive, isn't it? He answered, scratching the tip of his nose sheepishly. When Michael feels shy or proud, he tends to scratch his nose and his breathing becomes heavier. He kept glancing over as if begging for more praise, so it must have been a pleasant moment for him. Michael has always prioritized his career, always putting work first, so being recognized at work must be an honor for him. Well, at my level, it's not a big deal. But among my peers, only a handful have made it to manager, so I guess I've advanced quite quickly. Haven't I? Michael boasted, and I felt torn beside him. Sensing my hesitation, Michael leaned in close and said, "You wouldn't cling to your job when your husband is humbling himself and asking, would you?" I was speechless at this expression of Michael's I had never seen before. It was unbelievable, but I instinctively felt I shouldn't meet his eyes any longer, a strange feeling indeed. After being told so much, I had no choice but to quit. I wanted to continue a bit longer, but out of love for my husband, I decided to quit. The life of a full-time housewife, which started simultaneously with marriage, was harder than I thought. I thought being a housewife meant doing household chores at home, but it was too busy. Taking advantage of me being a full-time housewife, Michael stopped doing any household work altogether. Since the house is like a workplace for women, isn't it wrong to just rush through your tasks to enjoy your free time? When Michael said that with a strong tone, I couldn't talk back. I would prepare breakfast to match Michael's waking time and assist with his preparations for leaving, and by the time he returned at night, I had to have dinner ready, along with the bath and cleaning done. "Michael. Dinner's ready. Coming." He moved leisurely to the table and sat down, then sighed deeply after looking around. "You know I had a business dinner last night, so I drank, right?" "Yes, I thought it might have been a business dinner since you came back late, but what about it?" "If I drank at a business dinner, it should be obvious I'd want a fruit smoothie for breakfast, right?" "I'm sorry, I didn't consider that." Then, Michael tapped on the table and stared at me in silence. Michael is particular, and if anything deviates from his preferences, he makes it known strongly. "Hey, is this vase supposed to be here?" He pointed to a perfectly ordinary vase placed next to the TV stand. Michael said having flowers at home brightens up the place, so I bought this vase thinking it would be nice. I haven't exactly decided where to place the vase, but was there some issue with its current location? The vase? I moved it a bit because it was obstructing the view of the TV. Then Michael clicked his tongue and glared at me. From my seat, this angle makes the vase block the view of the painting. How can you cover up a masterpiece with flowers? What were you thinking? Putting your TV viewing above everything else is so selfish. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. Try to understand how I feel, being with such a selfish woman. He kept berating me persistently. Listening to him endlessly talk about how inadequate I am made me strongly believe I'm a failure. "Linda, you've always lived at home and only worked as a nurse, so you might not understand, but society isn't that kind. To only see things through the lens of the medical world." When Michael says this, I start to worry that maybe my perspective is too narrow, and this narrowness is causing inconvenience to Michael. Talking about being a doctor or a nurse, in the end, you're just a frog in a well. Yes, I suppose. I've been working at the same company for 30 years since graduating from college, so I'm good at sensing these things. I'll teach you from now on. So be more attentive. Honestly, working as a nurse was far better than this. His constant nagging can last for 2 to 3 hours at a time. If I show even a slight sign of annoyance, it's back to square one with the lecturing, so I can't even afford to look displeased. All I focused on was how to give answers that would satisfy Michael and nod as if I was listening. While I can just nod along to Michael's sarcasm, there's been another issue that has been troubling me for some time. It's the presence of Sarah, who lives next door. She seems to be thriving as an influencer, and I can hear her streaming late into the night. Despite the apartment having fairly good soundproofing, the noise suggests she must be broadcasting at a considerable volume. Just after moving here 13 years ago, I was troubled by this noise and warned her 2 or 3 times. Even now, thinking back to those times irritates me. Since those warnings, she seems to have marked me as an enemy. Every time we pass by each other, she clicks her tongue at me. While it's become routine, the accumulation of such encounters still upsets me. Do you know anything about the person next door? Michael looked puzzled as he looked at me. What's up with the neighbor? Don't tell me you're having a neighbor dispute or something. Spare me that. No, not a dispute, but it's just so noisy. I was wondering if something could be done. I don't really think so. Just make sure you don't confront the neighbor directly. Saying that, Michael ended the conversation as if it were final, chugging down his beer. I haven't brought it up since then. Michael often returns home late due to his busy work schedule. I try to stay up for him, but sometimes I end up falling asleep. One night, I thought I heard Michael's voice and assumed he was home, but I was too sleepy to get up. I need to get up, or Michael will get angry. Thinking this, I got up, but Michael was nowhere to be seen. Didn't Michael come home? I could clearly hear Michael's voice, but where was it coming from? Listening closely, the voice seemed to be coming from next door. Why would Michael's voice be coming from the neighboring room? It sounded like he was conversing with someone. Could it be with Sarah? Checking the clock, it was past 1 a.m. Why would Michael and Sarah be together at this time? Feeling uneasy, I decided to use some money I had saved from working to hire a detective. I never imagined I would one day hire a detective. Then, something completely unexpected came to light. However, I feel it's not yet the right time to confront Michael with this evidence alone. As the year was ending, I had a bad feeling. With the year-end wrap-up and the upcoming long holiday, there was an unpredictable element to what might happen. The start of each day felt a bit heavier than usual due to the break from my routine. On a particular year-end, Michael came home a bit early from work, seeming in a good mood. He appeared to have been drinking, his expression relaxed. Lately, he had been tense and often snapped at me, so I felt a bit relieved to see him like this. Welcome home. You're home early today, Michael. Yeah, it was the last day of work for the year, so I had a few drinks with my colleagues. I see. Then, while looking at the refrigerator, Michael asked for more alcohol. Hey, I'm not satisfied yet. Bring me something to drink. It was good for me that he was in a good mood, but his face was already quite red, clearly having had quite a bit to drink. Your face is all red. Don't you think you've had a bit too much? Too much? Are you saying I can't hold my liquor? Drinking is part of being a working adult, I can't be weak. Saying so, he chugged the beer he was holding. It's not like he particularly enjoys beer. He used to boast about his tolerance, but I've had to pick him up from bars countless times. Drinking heavily, that's what being a working adult is all about, he would say arrogantly, but he always ended up being overwhelmed by alcohol. And I was the one who had to take care of him in the end. I've worked up a sweat drinking for the first time in a while. I think I'll take a shower before bed. Saying that, he headed to the bathroom with his phone in hand. He never used to take his phone to the bathroom, but lately, he never lets it out of his sight, even at home. He even takes it to the toilet, so maybe there's something he really doesn't want seen. Wondering why he's taking his phone to the bathroom, I decided to keep an eye on the situation. From the bathroom Michael entered, I could hear the sound of him talking on the phone. He was speaking softly, so I couldn't hear the details, but I wondered what was so important that he had to talk about it in the bathroom. Then, there was a loud noise from the bathroom. Startled, I went to check and found Michael curled up in the bathtub, looking in pain. He regained consciousness just in time to struggle out of the tub, then collapsed, apparently unconscious. For now, I quickly checked Michael's condition. At that moment, someone started pounding on the door. The knocking was so forceful I thought the door might break. It's a rental, and having someone break the door isn't something to laugh about. I'd rather not have that happen. Especially at such a critical time. Who could it be at this time? Yes, I'm a bit busy right now. When I opened the door, there was Sarah. Move. You're in the way. I couldn't understand why Sarah would show up at this moment. Ignoring my confusion, she pushed past me and headed straight for the bathroom. Wait, hold on. Mikey. What happened? Mikey. I was impressed in a different way that she could so casually enter someone else's house at a time like this. I could never just barge into the house of someone I was having an affair with. Ignoring me standing there dumbfounded, Sarah started taking charge of the situation. She was commanding the scene as if she were the wife, which was bizarre to behold. "Call an ambulance, quick. How can you be so slow?" I couldn't just let Sarah do as she pleased. There was only one thing I needed to do, confront Sarah with reality. I just stood there, looking down at the two of them. "Call an ambulance? Do you think you're in a position to order me around?" "What do you mean?" "Just what I said. Do you think you have the right to instruct me, his wife?" Seemingly unable to believe I had talked back, she looked as if a pigeon had been hit by a pellet. Is it really so strange for me to talk back? If you're so concerned, why don't you call the ambulance yourself? No. That's a bit. I can't, so I'm asking you, aren't I? Think a little. She suddenly became defensive. Of course, she would. Being the other woman and barging into the house without any regard, it would be embarrassing if others found out. She's probably afraid of the affair being exposed through a phone call. While Michael lies collapsed in front of her, she hesitates, unable to make the call. I couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity. What do you mean you can't even make a phone call? So that's all you amount to, then? Reacting to my words, Sarah yelled. What do you mean that's all? Are you mocking the pure love between Mikey and me? It's terrifying how a mere affair partner could be so deluded into thinking their relationship is pure love. They're so blinded by their own affair that they can't see anything else, which is enviable in a way, but this isn't the time for such thoughts. Having an affair with someone's husband and calling it pure love is laughable. If you're genuinely concerned about Michael, making a call should be no big deal. So, you should be able to do it, right? I waved my phone in front of her, challenging her to make the call. If she were truly in a position to contact someone without issue, she would be able to do it. Sarah, infuriated by being challenged, glared at me furiously with a flushed face. Perhaps awakened by our voices, Michael regained consciousness. Still groggy from being unconscious, he seemed to be in considerable pain even after waking up. Struggling to speak, he managed to get out. My head is pounding, feels like it's going to split open. Call an ambulance. His expression twisted in apparent agony. Seeing him so unlike his usual confident self, I said. It's painful, isn't it? We should call for help, it's unsettling, isn't it? What are you stating the obvious for? Hurry up. Yes, we should do something quickly, shouldn't we? Ignoring Michael's words, I decided to take a specific action. I left the house without a word, glancing at Michael writhing in pain. I also took the waterproof bag with Michael's phone in it, so he couldn't use his phone to contact anyone. Michael and Sarah, relieved that he had woken up, seemed to be content confirming their love for each other. They had already entered their own little world, not even noticing that I had taken the phone. I couldn't deal with this foolish cheating couple any longer. Taking this opportunity, I decided to leave the house quickly. I immediately contacted James, Sarah's boyfriend, after leaving the house. James is her boyfriend, with whom she has been in a relationship with the intention of marriage, and he stays over about half the week. It could be considered semi-cohabitation, so I've run into him a few times in the hallway or at the trash disposal area. He works at a nearby hospital, and I remembered he had given me his business card once. Good evening. I apologize for calling so late. It seems Sarah has come to my place for some reason. Could you come pick her up? Linda? It's been a while. Sarah is at your place. What do you mean by that? James's voice on the other end sounded confused. Naturally. Anyone would be surprised to receive a sudden call from their girlfriend's neighbor in the middle of the night. I'll explain the details later. Are you at work right now, James? No, I just finished work and was killing time at a nearby diner. Sarah said she had a live stream today and wanted me to come back late. So, Sarah had made arrangements to keep James away from her apartment. While he was away, she was casually talking to Michael on the phone. Can you come soon? I'll head there right away. Let's meet at the entrance. Thank you. I'll join you there. 3 minutes after making the call, James arrived at the apartment's entrance, so we went to my room together. I briefly explained the situation to him as we walked from the entrance to my room. To put it bluntly, it seems that Michael and Sarah have been having an affair for many years. What do you mean? I found out through an investigation I had someone conduct. But it seems they met at a bar where Sarah worked 13 years ago and have been involved ever since. Hearing my words, James was holding his head in shock. 13 years? Since that long ago? Yes. 2 years ago, the apartment next to ours happened to be vacant, and it seems she moved in then. You're kidding, right? Then what am I? Aren't we supposed to get married? James was overwhelmed by the sudden revelation and the fact that he had been cheated on. It's understandable, considering he was serious about marrying someone who, unbeknownst to him, was having an affair with a married neighbor. It's about money, it seems. I suspected my husband was having an affair and hired a detective to investigate. And that's what the report indicated. I can't believe this. Michael collapsed while he was in the bath, and at that moment, Sarah barged into our apartment. It seems they were on the phone even while he was in the bath. James seemed to be pondering something, then suddenly turned to me. So that's why she never let go of her phone. But you said Michael collapsed? Is he okay? He's collapsed, but I've made sure it's nothing life-threatening. In short, he drank too much. After briefly explaining, I took James with me to my room. As we entered the room quietly, Michael and Sarah were still engaged in their charade. I'll stand against the world for Mikey. With such a beautiful person loving me, I'm truly blessed. This must be a trial given by God to reach true love. The time it took for me to leave the room, contact James, and return was only about 10 minutes. However, within that short time, it seemed a grand narrative had unfolded. It was shocking how they could spout such cheesy lines. Pretending to be a tragic couple unable to vow eternal love due to unfortunate circumstances. Glancing at James next to me, he had an indescribable expression. The cheesiness seemed to be making him shiver uncontrollably. Unable to bear it any longer, James accidentally dropped his bag, and that's when the two finally noticed us. What's going on here? James? Why are you here? The fact that both of them were naked added a layer of absurdity to the situation. Why am I here? That's my line. You said there was a live stream and not to come back at the usual time. Was it all for this? The usually calm James raised his voice, surprising Sarah a bit. Well, you know. That's because, well, you know how troublesome fans can be. If they found out I had a boyfriend. Sarah's eyes were darting around, avoiding direct eye contact. James, who I had briefly spoken with in the hallway or at the trash area, was not the type to raise his voice. From how calmly he listened when I explained everything to him, it was clear he was someone who could control his emotions well. For James to react this strongly, it must have been a significant betrayal. Enough with making a fool out of someone. You've been sneaking around with the guy next door for 13 years? Suddenly cornered, Sarah's eyes flitted around in panic. Well, I thought maybe you would be the one I'd marry. Is that so wrong? Her attempt to look up pitifully was clearly ineffective on James. We were supposed to get married someday, and we were practically living together. I can't believe you anymore. Seeing James's angry face seemed to bring Sarah back to her senses, and she quickly tried to change her tune. No, it's not what it looks like. I was just teaching him the ins and outs of streaming. Like personal training, you know? That's what's in demand these days. It seemed Sarah thought we knew nothing about influencers or streaming, and was trying to confuse the issue with irrelevant details. But James wasn't going to let her off the hook. Personal training? Have you already forgotten what you were saying just now? I decided to play the cheesy lines I had secretly recorded at full volume. Hey! You recorded this without me knowing? That's a violation of privacy. Delete it right now. Privacy? You, of all people, shouldn't talk about privacy. Naturally, we're getting a divorce. Michael seemed flustered, not having expected me to bring up divorce. Divorce? How do you plan to live without me? Talking about divorce when you've been living off me, have you lost your mind? Did he expect me to cry and beg him? He seems to think he's in a superior position as a man, unable to believe the current situation. It's curious where such absolute confidence comes from, but to me, it no longer matters. Say whatever you want. You can only act tough for now. Eventually, Michael and I got divorced. Following the incident, I immediately sought a lawyer specializing in divorce and infidelity issues and provided the evidence and videos. Incidentally, Sarah, who lived next door, also broke off her engagement with James and now seems to be living a secluded life. This is partly due to her streaming content going viral. Right after the affair with Michael came to light, her suggestive posts were analyzed by her fans. Fans have a keen eye, identifying details from subtly reflected images in a telephone pole or pin badge, to the point of astonishment. These hints in her posts and other details led to the revelation of her affair and relationship with Michael. The scandal even reached Michael's workplace due to a barrage of calls, exposing the affair there as well. Michael's company took the matter seriously, and he was fired. The company must have wanted to rid itself of the trouble. Understandably so. The affair with a well-known influencer, especially as a married employee of a prominent corporation, was heavily criticized as unacceptable. The company's stock even dropped when the affair became public, so they couldn't just overlook the situation. He says it's hard being the target of pointed fingers, making it difficult to go outside, but it's his own doing. Just stepping outside leads to being pointed at as the washed-up influencer, with posts appearing on bulletin boards. So he must not dare to venture out carelessly. I encountered Sarah just once after the whole fiasco. She appeared as if lying in wait when I was shopping at a drugstore near my workplace. How can you be living comfortably with a large sum of money while I'm suffering so much? Isn't that absurd? It's typical of her to make such outrageous accusations. There's nothing absurd about it. It's all the result of your actions, so I have nothing to say to you. And what right do you have to act all high and mighty? Because of you, my engagement is ruined. She approached me as she spoke. I was almost married to a doctor, and you ruined it. Give me a break. I don't understand how you can continue an affair and betray your fiancé while going after someone else's husband. You might want to be more cautious about your future actions. What do you know? You're quite the topic on the internet right now. If someone saw this, it might just end up online again. With that, Sarah adjusted her hood to cover her face more and quickly walked away. Since separating from Michael, I've been enjoying my life alone. Living at my own pace is the best. I've returned to my job as a nurse, keeping busy every day. There's a saying about old skills, but it seems my body remembers, and I can manage quite a bit. Though there was a time I wondered how things would turn out, now I consider living my days to the fullest as my form of revenge. Having forgotten about Michael and Sarah,